What would we do if we owned Alton Towers? Let's take a look. This year on Your Experience Guide, we've been quite critical of Alton Towers. So today, rather than doing that, we're just going to have a bit of fun speculating about what we'd do to make Alton Towers better if it was up to us. Now the first thing I would say is sort the monorail out, because on most occasions when you come to this park, it's closed, like it is today. So Steve is going to give you some solutions, I hope.
Personally, I actually looked into this, because this has happened a lot to us this year where the monorail's just not been open. It's nearly the same distance as what it is to get from like is equivalent, the Magic Kingdom lake distance. Yeah. It's not that far different to walk from here to get to the park itself. You really need to look into this, because like it seems to be if it's consistently not opening on time, maybe look at some data and see how often it is open at the beginning of the day. And if it is consistently down, maybe you just need to move the park entrance.
There we go. Solution number one to making Alton Towers better. Now, let's walk to the parks. "22 minutes later, we have arrived at the Alton Towers entrance plaza. And as far as first impressions go, not great with the monorail and not great with the corkscrews. They could do with a bit of a clean.
Well, to be fair, they could do with a paint.
That too. Should we head in?
Let's go.
Here we are in X Sector. What would you do?
What would I do? To be fair, I wouldn't change that much. Like, people love the Smiler. Oblivion's a great roller coaster. I'd say keep both as long as you can, but I would definitely add maybe not even a flat ride. I think I'd add another coaster in the area. I think I'd add an S&S 4D just down at the bottom of X Sector here. Because I know that certain flat rides, like Submission, they went for reasons. If you have one of those coasters, it's like a flat ride experience, but a roller coaster. I think that's a really good go-to ride for down here.
That's a cool idea, actually, and it adds to the coaster count as well. So yeah, I'd be up for that. The ones I've done in the Six Flags parks are really cool. So what I do in this area, I would actually re-theme the whole area. I'd run. Oblivion's very loud. So I know a lot of people know that I don't like the Smiler, but I would actually keep it, but I would modify it. I would put the lap bar trains on from Gerstlauer, because it would significantly improve the roller coaster experience for everybody. And it would also probably quicken up the operations too. And I'm not saying they're slow anyway, because they're not. The staff on there are fantastic, but it would make it even better. So I would keep the Smiler, but it would have new trains with lap bars, and I would re-theme it to fit in with a full re-theme of X Sector. As for Oblivion, well, I'd run it until basically it couldn't run anymore. Once its time was up, remove it, and very much like has been suggested by Digital Dan and other people, I'd replace it with a tilt coaster from Vekoma. That would be awesome, and also you could still use the tunnel. In the short term, please just paint everything. It would look so much better. Okay, we've moved on to what is a family only area of the park, really, and that is the David Walliams area. For me, scrap it. Get rid of the IP, start over. Whether it's an IP or just an original sort of brand or theme, get rid of the Walliams theming, start again. Start again with Gangster Granny. Completely tear it apart and start again. We need dark rides, but that one is not very good. So completely retheme that area. Make use of the old Ice Age 4D, I think it was, building. Bring some entertainment back to the park. Have a family fun show in there. Bit of entertainment where people can get out of the sun or get out of the rain, regardless of what the weather is, just so you can get out of it. Then, if we go around here a little bit, we've got the dungeons, or what was the dungeons. It's now been closed for around a year, maybe just a little bit short of that. Retheme it, reopen it, have it as this new family area, replacing David Walliams. Obviously Project Horizon was meant to be somewhere over there, but doesn't look like that's going to happen, does it? So and one last thing from me before I bring Steve back in. This place over here, Burger Kitchen. Get McDonald's back. What would you do, Steve?
To be fair, I think it does need a new theme. I don't really know what I'd turn it into, but I think that it's a dead area, the park now. Like, yeah. I dread to think what the numbers are like actually in Burger Kitchen, with this area being kind of not very popular. Like, there's no big ride. I know you used to have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is a family ride, but it kind of appealed to a wide audience, so it used to bring a lot of footfall up here. But since that's gone, it's kind of been missing its like headliner attraction up here. I do think that Horizon was supposed to fix that, so I would go straight on with incorporating Horizon into a retheme of the rest of the area.
Whole space family themed area.
Yeah, like or something, you know, but just incorporate like Horizon into it.
Yeah, I think that'd be quite cool actually. You get Project Horizon with its space theme, then you retheme the dungeons building into something that ties into that. I don't know how a boat ride would fit into going out to space, but I'm sure they could make it work.
Elevators.
The elevators?
I don't know if they're still in there, to be fair. I think some of them are gone now, but if I'd put the space is there to redo it, I suppose, so you could put the elevators back in and have a boat ride launch experience where you actually, because you used to go out the top on the in the factory when you pushed a button.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. That's true.
It'd be good.
Maybe you could take the boat to the spaceship and the lift is the spaceship. I don't know, but yeah, it would have been cool if Project Horizon did happen, and then, you know, dungeons got redone to fit into that. Then the whole area behind takes on that space theme, and then Burger Kitchen becomes McDonald's or Burger King or something that's just better than it currently is. Right, Dark Forest.
I'm going to definitely keep Rita because I love Rita. But I'm actually going to talk about what options do we have with Rita. So there are a few things we could do. So the obvious one is just remove it and replace it with something else. The option they've gone for after this last bit of downtime is to actually fix it and get it back up and running. See it moving just behind me today. And I think the other one is retrofit, which not many people talk about. So there is a reason why towers don't tend to have electromagnetic launch coasters. It's because the power supply to the park is, there's no decent power grid around this area, to be fair. It's right in the middle of nowhere. Getting a decent power supply in to run a magnetic launch coaster is going to be difficult. However, newer technology that Intamin have come out with, if they have like storage capacitors, so they charge over time for the launch, and they've actually enabled these coasters to be a lot more widespread, hence we've seen them being put into a lot more parks. So I wouldn't rule out a magnetic launch coaster at Towers anymore. Obviously I don't know the specs of what they've got here, but I think it would be possible nowadays with the technology that is being developed for magnetic launch coasters. You could potentially retrofit this and give it the old Top Thrill 2 treatment.
Right. So what you're saying is turn Rita into LSM launch coaster.
New trains.
Give it some new trains with the lap bars, and there you go.
Yeah.
So would you keep the theme? Would you retheme it? Would you retheme the whole area with that?
So I do think that the Dark Forest has never really had a proper identity. It's always had something in the area that has not made it fit in. So when it was Ugland, it had Rita, which didn't really fit in with the dinosaur theme at the time. And then it went to the Dark Forest, and then it still had Rita, which didn't fit in with the Dark Forest theme really. I think it's just one of those things that's never really fitted the park. So Rita was very much a last minute roller coaster for this park. It was one of those where it became available, it was relatively cheap to install, and it'd be like, do you want it? And they would just buy it, you know, why not? If it's on offer, get it. So that's kind of why Rita ended up here. It was quite a short turnaround on its construction period. It was very last minute, wasn't it? I'm sure you remember, but you know, back in the day, it was very much like, oh, they're building a roller coaster. Oh, it's in.
Yeah.
What winter.
Well, it was a bit of a surprise because obviously in 2004 they did Spinball and the Log Flume refurb, well, retheme, not refurb, and then they turned Haunted House into Duel. So there was quite a lot going on. And then you kind of thinking, oh, there'll be a little bit of a gap between they do anything.
Yeah.
And then you get to close season and they announced Rita, and everyone's like, what? So, yeah.
So I do think that unifying the theme into something would be really good for this area. I'm not sure really what theme I would go for, but I do think this is a good area for a potential water ride to go in and utilise this space around the back of Rita and where we're stood now on the old roller disco site. And I think that that's something that Towers is lacking greatly at the moment, is a decent water ride. So I would actually add a water ride attraction and probably keep Rita and 13.
Fair dues, fair dues. Of course, let us know in the comments section below what you would do with these areas at Alton Towers, and please remember to subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Anyway, what I would do is I'd run Rita until basically reaches the end of service life, Then I would replace it with a family coaster with a 1 meter height restriction. Steve's like cursing at me off camera now. But then I would put in Rita's proper like-for-like replacement elsewhere, and we'll get to that later on. But I'd replace Rita when it gets to the end of service life with a family coaster, 1 meter height restriction, maybe something like Gold Rush at Drayton Manor. Steve's definitely shouting at me off camera now. Put a flat ride in, and then sort of rebrand everything to fit around 13 in the Dark Forest that comes into this area. Say rebrand, actually just theme it that way when they put it in. So yeah, on to the next area.
So here we are at the ruins, and I do think that Alton Towers did have a good event lineup a few years ago. I do think this is kind of petered downwards, especially this year, and there's nothing really apart from Scarefest that's really, and Scarefest and Christmas are the two biggest like events they do. Now what I'm thinking is maybe they should really try and push the events a little bit more. Like a summer event would be really good. I know Pleasure Beach are really doing the late night riding, and to be honest, that's the busiest the park is during those times, and I think that something like that here would work really well.
Right, we're back towards the entrance of Alton Towers, and the first roller coaster you come to is Spinball Whizzer. Now that is now in its 21st year here at Alton Towers. I don't think anyone thought it would last that long when they put it in, but it's still going. It's still a family favourite coaster, and it's still a lot of fun. So what I'd actually do with that is just leave it. Keep it running until it literally cannot run anymore. People love it, it's always popular, so keep it going, and then once it does reach the end of service life, then let it go and do something else with the area. In the meantime, probably just needs a bit of a paint and a bit of a jet wash. Steve, what would you do with it?
I don't really know, to be honest. Like, it's I'd probably just do the same. It's going to be difficult to find another ride to kind of put in that place. Potentially as an expansion for CBeebies.
Yep.
In the future when Spinball's time does come to an end, but it's not a bad coaster. I think the only thing is with this park is it doesn't quite have the throughput that it needs,
yes.
So it does gather a large queue very often. I think having a spinning coaster with maybe a bit more capacity is something they could potentially consider.
Fair enough. On to Mutiny Bay.
Yarr.
The issue with Mutiny Bay is it's quite disjointed, because the sign for it is quite a way away from one of the main attractions, which is behind me, Battle Galleons. So it's kind of scattered across a large area, but it doesn't feel very connected. Now I actually like the idea of a pirate themed area, but the issue is right next to Mutiny Bay you've got Wickerman, which doesn't fit into a pirate theme. So I don't know how they could work around this, because Wickerman's theming works really well for what it is, but Mutiny Bay's theming works really well for what that is. So I don't know how you fix it, but I bet Stephen knows.
Retheme Wickerman to pirates.
Really?
Get rid of the pre-show. I don't like the pre-show. I personally would bring Wickerman into the Mutiny Bay bubble. I think that a wooden coaster would fit in really well in this area. I think like Mutiny Bay needs a coaster.
Yes.
It needs a thrill ride. It doesn't really have one. So yeah, I'd definitely like include Wickerman into that. I do think some kind of thrilling flat ride would go in well here as well, and have it as like a family thrill area. So you've got a thrill ride, and the family area works really well as well. So who knows? But that'd be good. I'd enjoy that. What do you think?
I think it works to a point, but it's just like the Wickerman theme works really well for what that ride is. So how do you change that? Like, because obviously, do you keep the flames? Do you keep Big Bob? They obviously spent a lot of money on the theming for Wickerman.
Obviously Bob kind of is a bit of an issue. I feel like Bob might have to go if you're going to make it into like a pirate theme. To be fair, save some money on gas.
I'm feeling a new hashtag campaign. Hashtag Save Bob.
Save Bob.
Save Bob.
Bob's days numbered. No, I don't think Bob's going anywhere, to be fair. But personally, I would like to see a better integration to it is a theme park. I think they should really try and integrate the theme a little bit more. I feel like Wickerman would probably really should be entering from like Gloomy Wood.
Yeah.
More. I feel like it would fit that area more than Mutiny Bay. I think the entrance is just in the wrong place for it.
Just doesn't fit in, does it? That's the problem. It's themed really well, but it's kind of like having, for example, let's use Blackpool. You've got a space themed tower ride next to a Viking themed ride next to a carousel ride. It's kind of like that really, because obviously here we've got pirates, then you've got Wicker Man, and then just over there you've got the Curse at Alton Manor, and none of it really connects very well.
Yeah,
but
if you're going for that immersive theme like Universal, I know Alton Towers is not Universal, but you do want to be a good theme park.
Wait. Second only to Disney, mate.
Well, they want to be a theme park, so yeah, I think that doing these little tweaks and changing and bringing Wicker Man into Mutiny Bay would be a great move for them.
Absolutely. Save Big Bob. Right, Katanga Canyon.
Let's have a look.
Yeah. Katanga Canyon then, Steve, what's you thinking?
I do think that it is lacking just a third attraction, because you do have the Rapids, you have the Mine Train, both really good attractions. I don't know. Oh, there it goes. I think some kind of a track ride of some sort in the area, because there's not much space, so you're going to have to be really clever with intertwining another attraction within the existing rides here. I'm not sure what I'd put in though. I'd maybe a small roller coaster or something. Maybe a family Vekoma family coaster.
Yeah.
Would go quite well. To be fair, a boomerang could be a shout. I'm not sure if it has the capacity needed. Or maybe a boomerang style coaster, but as a full circuit.
Yes.
I think would go well, because I do think that sort of ride that can take anybody is going to be more popular. And like them boomerangs, they do take everybody. And unlike Drayton, the crowds here are much bigger than Drayton Manor, so I think it would struggle to cope on the busier days if it was a boomerang. So yeah, I do think that a larger scale Vekoma family coaster would go well.
I do think this area of the park is pretty tricky because there isn't a lot of space, and the rides you've got are popular. Obviously the Rapids is really popular, especially on a summer's day. Runaway Mine Train's always been popular as well, so I think really rather than adding new stuff, I'd maybe go down the line of just tidy up the area as much as possible, maybe modernise the Mine Train, modernise the Rapids, but probably not do too much differently to what they're already doing in this area. What would you do with Forbidden Valley?
Well, this are the biggest changes for the areas that I would personally change. Although, while we're walking down here, you actually have the same idea as me, so I'll let you go first and just check it is the same.
Fantastic. So, I'm going to start with Nemesis. I think because they've spent a lot of money on it, you can't then be ripping it out and taking it away. So, I feel like they need to figure out sorting out its vibrations. It's got very rattly over the last couple of months. It doesn't ride like it should do, and like B&M inverts that are 10, 15, 20 years older than it are running significantly smoother than what should be running like a brand new coaster. So I'd figure out sorting out the vibrations on Nemesis, but I would absolutely keep it because it is a staple attraction here. What I would have done in 2019, 2020 is made the decision to remove it and put something else in its space, but they didn't. They decided to retrack it. Therefore, you've got to keep it now for at least 10 years. So I'd leave that as it is in terms of Nemesis would stay, but it would have to be fixed. I would need to find a solution to stop the vibrations. On to Galactica then. Galactica goes. It has to go. I would get rid of it, and this is where Rita's replacement would go in terms of an Intamin launch coaster. Intamin LSM launch coaster, similar sort of thing to Tutatis with a swing launch, high capacity, and it will be themed to the Phalanx, to Forbidden Valley. It's one of the Phalanx experiments gone terribly wrong, so the theme of the ride will be you escaping from the factory of the Phalanx where they've made a massive mistake and one of their big experiments has gone wrong, and the launch would be you launching out of that problem. So what did Steve think?
It's very similar, so multi-launch, into a multi-launch coaster. I would love to see some of them trick track elements with like the switching launch, and to be fair, a bit of a tip, saves you some money on the ride duration. You get a longer ride, don't you, if you've got a swing launch?
Yeah.
You've got your backwards filling spike with the backwards airtime is a thing.
Yes.
With those, and it is an interesting sensation if you've ever been on one. Here comes the monorail.
Oh, is it working?
It's working now, we don't need it now. But like, I do think another flat ride in the area would go well as well. Potentially a dark ride experience.
Yes.
Maybe some kind of like, I know that originally John Wardley had the idea of a pipeline coaster was going to be like an indoor pipeline coaster, I believe, with a missile theme.
Yeah.
A bunker type theme. Something like that would probably go really well. I'm not saying build a pipeline coaster, but I think that kind of missile weapon theme would go in well in this area, and maybe even like some kind of flat ride experience.
Yeah, so obviously you've got arcade at the top end of Forbidden Valley. There was talk that that building would eventually be used for a ride. Don't know how true that is, but there could interestingly be some form of dart ride up there. As you come into Forbidden Valley, again, it could be something to do with the Phalanx, maybe a research facility of theirs or something. There's definitely potential in this area to match all of the theme up and make it a really immersive storytelling area of the park. And I think that if they wanted to do that, they certainly could. I know it'll cost a bit of money, but the potential for this area certainly is there. I'm not a fan of Toxicator, but I would leave it as it is. It kind of works. It's a thrill ride, and this is the area of thrill rides. So it kind of works in that way. I'm not so sure on the theming, how it fits in, but in terms of what it is, it fits in with the area. Other things I would say, and I know Steve doesn't agree with this, get rid of the roller coaster restaurant as it is. Get rid of the railing things and bringing the food down in a roller coaster format. Just make it proper table service and actually, you know, sell good food, not the filth that we had last year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that was probably one of the worst meals I've ever had at a theme park, and I've had some pretty bad meals at theme parks. I don't know if you ever went to Camelot. Anywho, what would you think with Subterra? Because I do think that Subterra is it doesn't really deliver or do anything particularly well, in my opinion. Like, would you possibly change that up? Maybe put another ride experience in there?
That is an interesting point, because I don't actually know. It's not got very good throughput. It's not very, what's the word? It's designed for children, the seats. So it's not really adult friendly.
No.
So it's kind of an awkward one in terms of, you know, the seating style on it and the slow throughputs. I really like the idea of it. It fits in, like the theming of it is perfect for this area. But does it work as an attraction? That's a difficult one. What would you do with it?
To be fair, the issue, you said it straight away, it is a children's ride, like filled up.
Yeah.
And it's not attracting its key audience that it should be, because it's too scary for that. So. And I'll be honest, as far as drop towers go, it's the worst you can get. Like, I'd rather go on the Frog Hopper, sorry, Raj's bottom berth up at the Williams World than Subterra. And I think that's saying something right there, that it's just a very poor thrill ride. I'd potentially put something, I don't know how much space there is in there if you empty it out, but I'd probably size up something like a breakdance or a small ride like that inside there, and have that themed up to be some kind of experiment inside. Rather than the drop tower, because as much as like I love a drop tower, they're not really drop towers, they're more lifts.
Yeah, fair enough.
And it just doesn't do it for me. I think that it's you can only fill up a children's ride so much, and I think that's the worst case of it. I know 13 gets slated for that quite badly, but I think that Subterra is probably the worst example of Merlin trying to make a kids ride a full ride.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I think that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. So do let us know in the comment section below, what would you do if you owned Alton Towers, or if you were in a position to be making the decisions, what happens here? It'd be very interesting to read your comments in the comment section below. And please remember to subscribe to Your Experience Guide. There's loads of theme park content on the channel, and there's loads more to come just in 2025 alone. So if you have enjoyed this video, please do hit the like button. It's a little thumbs up below. If you've not liked it, hit the thumbs down. Equally, it all helps. Many thanks for watching. See you next time.